Right now, in factories, water treatment plants, HVAC system, and mining operation all over the world, engineers are making the same mistake. They are opening up a variable frequency drive, pressing a few buttons, leaving it in default mode, and walking away. And that default mode, usually scalar V by F control, sometimes that perfectly fine, but sometimes it's costing their operation significant torque, performance, energy efficiency and process precision. Okay, in today's video we are going to do something I have seen done thoroughly anywhere else. A genuine engineering grade head-to-head breakdown of sensorless vector control versus scalar V by F VFD modulation. We are taking math, application, real torque curves, efficiency numbers, and the exact decision framework you need to pick the right method every single time. Okay, so if you are new here, I cover practical power, electronics, motor drives, and industrial automation for engineers who want to actually understand the technology, not just operate it. Okay, hit the subscribe and let's get into it. So, first, scalar V by F control foundation. Okay, let's start with the method that's been around since VFDs were first commercialized. Scalar control, also called V by L or volt per hertz control. Okay, and the name tells you almost everything you need to know. The fundamental principle is elegantly simple: to maintain a constant magnetic flux in the motor's stator. Okay, you maintain a cost ratio between the output voltage and output frequency. If your motor is rated for 460 volts at 60 hertz, okay, that gives you V by F, V upon hertz ratio of approximately 7.67 volts per hertz. Okay, you reduce the frequency at 30 hertz frequency. Okay, you also reduce the voltage to 230 volts. The ratio says constant. Okay, this works because of Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. The back EMF of an induction motor is proportional to both magnetic flux and the rotation speed. Okay, by keeping voltage proportional to frequency, we keep flux roughly constant across the speed range, which means the motor can produce relatively constant consist torque. Okay, now here is the critical word I use: roughly. Okay, scalar controller maintains flux approximability. It has no real-time knowledge of what actually happening inside the motor. No current vector decomposition, no rotor position estimation. Okay, no flux observation. It set the V by hertz ratio and trust the motor to follow. That's both its strength and its biggest limitation. Okay, where scalars real application. Okay, so when it's scalar control, the right choice more often than you might think. Centrifugal fan and pumps, which represent the single largest category of VFD application globally, are typically perfect candidates for V by F control. Okay, V by Hertz control. Why? Because the torque retirement follows the affinity laws. Torque varies with the square of speed, and power varies with the cube of speed. At low speed, you need to very little torque. Okay, The imprecision of scalar control at low speed simply does not matter. Multi-motor application, where a single VFD drives multiple motors in parallel like a textile machine or a conveyor system with servo motors. Okay, our most exclusive scalar application, vector control requires knowing the motor's electrical model parameters precisely, and you can't do that for multiple different motors simultaneously. Okay, simple conveyor system, mixer, compressor with light, starting loads and agricultural pumps. Okay, I'm again saying that simple conveyor system, mixers, compressor with light, starting loads and centrifugal agriculture pumps. Okay, these are all excellent scalar application. The load profile is predictable, low speed precision is not needed, and the cost saving of a simpler drive setup are real. Scalar limitation. Next point, my scalar limitation, the honest truth. But now let's talk about where scalar falls apart, and this is where engineers get into trouble. Low speed torque production is the unethical hill of scalar control. At frequencies below roughly 5 to 10 Hz, the resistive voltage drop across the stator resistance becomes significant relative to the applied voltage. The V by Hertz ratio that work at 60 Hz no longer maintains aqueduct flux at low speed. The motor becomes magnetically started, torque collapse, and you lose speed regulation. Most modern VFD include a voltage boost or IR compensation for feature to partially address this, adding extra voltage at low speed to compensate for the stator resistance drop. But this is a static compensation. It does not adapt to the actual motor current or load condition in real time. It is best guys. Okay, speed regulation accuracy is another limitation. Under a varying load, scalar control cannot maintain precise speed. If the load increases, the motor slips more and the VFD does not. No, the actual shaft speed can divide 3 to 5% from the set point, sometimes more. And the finally, dynamic torque response. If you need fast precise torque changes like in crane hoist, a winding machine and any position sensitive applications, scalar control simply cannot deliver. Okay, response time are slow and torque accuracy is poor. Okay, next my point, sensorless vector control. Okay, sensorless vector control. Now let's talk about the technology that changing the VFD industries fundamentally. Vector control, also called field oriented control or FOC, and specially the version we are comparing today, sensorless vector control, which achieves vector performance without any physical encoder or tachometer on the motor staff. The core idea behind vector control is to the control motor the same way a DC motor is controlled, by the independently controlling the magnetic flux and the torque producing current in a DC motor. The armature and field are physically separate, it's inherently decoupled. Okay, in a AC motor they are not vector control mathematically decouples them. This is done through mathematical transformation called the Clark and Park transform. The three-phase stator current, which are time-varying sinusoidal quantities, are transformed into a rotating two-axis reference frame aligned with the rotor flux. In this D and Q reference frame, the flux component and the torque component of the current can be controlled independently, just like a DC machine. A sensorless vector control goes one step further. Instead of measuring rotor position with a physical encoder, okay, it estimated the rotor flux position using a mathematical model of the motor. These motor models run in real time inside the VFD drive, okay, DSP, using the measured starter voltage and current as an input. Next, my point, flux observer and motor explained. Okay, the heart of sensorless vector control is what's called a flux observer or adaptive motor model. This is where the engineering gets genuinely impressive. When you first commission a VFD in sensorless vector mode, most common drive will run an auto tune or motor identification routine. During this routine, the drive injects test signal into the motor while it's stationary, measuring the stator resistance, stator leakage inductance, rotor resistance, and magnetic inductance. These four parameters define the motor's electrical equivalent circuit. With this parameter stored, the drive's internal model can now continuously calculate the estimated rotor flux, magnitude, the angle, the estimated rotor speed, and the actual D-axis and Q-axis current. The PI controllers then close the loop on these estimated quantities in real time. Okay, typically at update rates of 5,000 to 20,000 calculations per second. The limitation: at very low speed, typically below 1 to 3rd, the back EMF signal becomes too weak to reliably extract rotor position information. The observer becomes inaccurate. Most sensorless drives therefore specially a minimum reliable speed, often around 0.5 Hz to 2 Hz, below which the drive may switch to an open loop mode or lose torque regulation. For true zero speed and holding torque application, you need a physical encoder that's closed loop vector or servo territory. Okay. Next point, low speed torque, a key differential. Okay, this is where the rubber meets the road. Low speed torque performance, this signal parameter is often the deciding factor in the scalar versus sensorless vector decision. Okay, with the scalar V by F control, okay, V by F means V by Hertz, okay, generally saying, available torque at low speed degrades significantly. Even the IR compensation and voltage boost, you are typically looking at 50 to 70% of rated torque at 5 Hz, and it continues to fall. Starting a heavily load conveyor, a positive displacement pump or hoist from the rest problematic. Okay. With sensorless vector control, the drive actively manages the D-axis flux and Q-axis torque current independently. The result is 150 to 200% of rated torque available even at very low speed. sometimes drive rated down 0.5 Hz at full torque. This is not a specification based, okay? It is a fundamental consequence of independently controller flux and torque production. Think about what this means practically. A crane hoist that needs to hold a load steady while lowering at 0.5 Hz, a paper winding machine that must maintain precise tension at roll diameter changes at speed decreases, okay? And a mine hoist starting under load a mine hoist starting under full load. These are impossible application for scalar control. They are routine for sensorless vector control. Next point, head-to-head efficiency, speed and dynamic response. Okay, let's compare directly across the three performance dimensions that matters most in real application. Energy efficiency for centrifugal load at minimum to high speed. Both methods perform similarly because the load naturally limits the current, but variable torque application with frequent or load speed operation, sensorless vector control can improve efficiency by 2 or 8% by more precisely controlling the magnetizing current and avoiding overfluxing the motor. Over the lifetime of a large motor, that's add up to significant energy cost saving. Second, speed regulation. Scalar control typically achieves 3 plus minus or 5% speed regulation under varying load. Sensorless vector control typically achieves 0.1 to 0.5%, an order of magnitude better. If your process requires a constant line speed, extruder, winder, precise conveyor, this difference is critical. Dynamic control response. Scalar control has a response time in range of hundreds of milestones. Sensorless vectors achieve torque response times of 5 to 20 milliseconds, fast enough for many demanding process applications. True servo performance is faster still, but sensorless vector bridge the gap significantly. Okay. Next, commissioning complexity. Scalar requires almost no motor parameter entry. Enter the motor nameplate data and you are running. Sensorless vector requires the auto-tune routing, accurate nameplate data, cable length consideration, and sometimes additional parameter tuning. It is more complex, but modern drives have made this much more user friendly. So, decision framework, which one do you need? Okay, my next point, decision framework. Okay, all right, let's give you practical decision framework. I want you to able to work into any application and know within 60 seconds which control made to you specially. Okay, choose scalar V by F when load is centrifugal, fan, pump or blower. Multiple motors are on one drive. Okay, the load is light and startup speed regulation of 3 to 5% is acceptable. Okay, you need the simplest mid robust setup. The speed range does not go below 10 to 50% of base speed under load. Choose sensorless vector when you need high torque at low speed or from stand still. Speed regulation better than 1% is required. Okay, 1% plus and minus. That the load varies significantly and speed must stay precise. You have a single motor with non-nameplate data. The application involves starting under heavy load. Conveyors, compressor, positive displacement pumps, hoist, winder and extruder. Okay. The gray zone. When to think harder. If your centrifugal pump runs frequently below 20 Hz, consider vector for the efficiency gain. If your conveyor has frequent start and stop cycle with varying load, vector torque response will give you better process and smoother operation. Okay. So, common mistakes and programming tips. Before we close, let's cover the mistake I see engineers and technicians make most often with these two control methods. Mistake 1. Skipping the auto tune on a sensorless vector drive. If you are manually enter motor nameplate data but skip the dynamic auto tune, the drive's internal motor model will be inaccurate. Okay, you will get a poor torque performance and possibility instability. Okay, always run the full ID run. Okay, even if it takes 10 minutes during commissioning. Mistake number 2. Running sensorless vector with a very long motor cable without derating. Okay, long cables introduce capacitance that affect the voltage and current measurement. The drive use the flux estimation. Okay, check your drive manufacturer's cable length guidelines for sensorless vector control. Mistake number 3. Using sensorless vector for multi-motor application. The motor model is optimized for one motor. Put two motors in parallel and both the model and the current measurement become meaningless for vector control. Okay, drop to Scala. Okay. Mistake number 4. Expecting sensorless vector to hold torque at zero speed for extended periods. Most sensorless drive cannot. The flux observer breaks down. For zero speed holding torque in crane or hoist application, you need either closed loop vector with an encoder or a motor brake. Okay. Next, programming tip for sensorless vector control. Again saying that after auto tune, verify the motor model or a parameter against calculation from nameplate data. Set your current limit to 150% for demanding application. Tune the speed PI regulator bandwidth for your mechanical load interior. Okay, too tight and you will get oscillation. To loose and speed regulation suffer. So, conclusion and call to action. Okay, conclusion and call to action. So, let's land this plane. Scalar V by F control is not interfere. It is the right tool for its specific set of application, and those applications represent the majority of industrial VFD installation. It's robust, simple, multi-motor, capable and proven over decreases. Okay. Sensorless vector control is the right choice when your application demands high torque at low speed, precise regulation, speed regulation, fast dynamic torque response, or heavily load starting. Okay, and you can accept the single motor constraint and the commissioning investment. Okay, the engineers who get this right are not the ones who know the most technical detail. They are the ones who accurately understand their application requirements and match the technology to those requirements. Okay, that's what separates great drive application work from average drive application works. So if you found this useful, hit the like button, and it genuinely helps this content reach other engineers and students or ITI holders who need to eat. Okay, and drop your application in comment. Okay, I read every single ones, and your question might become the next video. Okay, see you in the next one. Thank you very much.